Jai Hind everyone, myself Dr. Inderjeet Kaur, Professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering at Akgec Engineering College, Ghaziabad. Welcome to Cloud Computing series. So in this lecture, we will be discussing the Unit 1 for the cloud computing. So first of all, we should understand what is cloud computing. Cloud computing, it provides us the means of accessing the applications or the utilities that are available on the internet. It allows us to create, configure and customize all the applications and services online, and we need to pay as per as we are using it. Then if we define the term cloud, it refers to the network or internet, we can say. In other words, we can say that cloud is something which is present remotely, means we can access it from anywhere we want. Cloud can provide services over the public and private as per our usage. So it can work on WAN, LAN or VPN. Then the different applications such as email, web conferencing and the CRM, they execute it on the cloud. These all can be executed on the cloud. Then we can say cloud computing, if we need to define, it refers to manipulating, then configuring and accessing the hardware and software resources remotely. So it offers online data storage. The next question should be, when we are accessing all the software and hardware resources remotely, then question comes ki where they will be stored. So it provides online data storage, it provides us online infrastructure and online application as per our requirement. Then the cloud computing, it offers platform independency. Software need not to be required to be installed locally on the PC as we used to be. So cloud computing, we can say it is making our business applications mobile and collaborative. We can use it anywhere as we want. Then see this, here the different network, the users are connected. This is network 1, then on the network 2, the different computers, they are connected. Then on network 3, these computers are connected. On network 4, these mobile phones are connected. So they are accessing online storage, they are accessing different applications and they are accessing different infrastructure depending upon their usage. Then cloud computing, we can say it provides platform independency, as it is clear for this diagram, because we are not installing the software locally on the PC. So it is making our business applications mobility factor, it is giving. Then the basic concepts that are required for the cloud, there are certain services and models working behind the scene that is making the cloud computing feasible and accessible to the end user. That is the most important factor. Following are the working models for the cloud computing. First one is the deployment model and second one is the service model. So if we are starting from the deployment model, it defines the type of access to the cloud. For example, how the cloud is located. Cloud, it can have the 4 types of access. We can say the access can be public, the access can be private, the access can be hybrid, or it can be defined in a community way. So here it is being written, either the cloud can be public, it can be private, it can be hybrid, or the community cloud. If we say ki public cloud, it allows the system and services to be easily accessible to the general public. So public cloud, they will be having less security feature because of its openness. Then moving on to the second one, that is the private cloud. This private cloud, it allows the system and services to be accessible within the organization. So it is more secured because of its private nature. Then moving on to the community cloud, it is this cloud, it allows the system and services to be accessible by a group of organizations, group of community lying in that network. Then fourth one is the hybrid cloud. Hybrid cloud, we can say it is a mixture of public and private cloud in which the critical activities they are being performed using private cloud, while the non-critical activity they can be used using the public cloud. So, we will be using the mixture of public and private. Then service model, the cloud computing, it is based on the different service models. They can be categorized into three basic service models. One is infrastructure as a service, then second one platform as a service, and third one the software as a service. Anything as a service, SaaS. So, it is yet another service model that includes the network as a service, business as a service, identity as a service, and database as a service, or we can say strategy as a service, the combination of all. Then moving on to the infrastructure as a service, it is the most basic level of the service that the cloud computing is giving to us. Each of the service model, it inherits the security and management mechanism from the underlying model. As we can see from this diagram, these are my cloud clients, that is the web browser, the mobile applications, or the thin client. These starting from the infrastructure as a service, the different virtual machines, the servers, the different storage, then the networks, they come under the IaaS. Then second is my platform, that is giving me a platform, means the different database, the different kind of web servers where I am deploying my the different tools. So, the deployment tools, they come under the PaaS. And the third one at the upper layer, at the application layer, we will say service as a service. Then here it is, we need to define CRMs, emails, games, virtual desktop, through which the different end users will be accessing the cloud. They are known as from the application layer. So, infrastructure as a service, it is providing access to the fundamental resources, that is the physical machines, virtual machines, or the virtual storage, they come under infrastructure as a service. Then second one, platform as a service. PaaS, it provides us the runtime environment for the application development and the development tools, deployment tools on which the different applications can be executed. Third one, the software as a service. This model, it allows the software applications as a service to the end users. Here we are concerned about the providing service to the end users. Then what are the advantages of the cloud computing? It has number of advantages. Some of them, they are, we can access the application as per our utility over the internet. Then we can manipulate and configure the applications online at our as per our convenience. It doesn't require installing the software to access or manipulate the cloud application. Then cloud computing, it offers online development and deployment tools, programming runtime environment through PaaS or platform as a service known as model. Then cloud resources, they are available, we know, over the network in a manner that provides us the platform independency feature to any type of our client. Then we can say cloud computing, it offers on demand self-service, that is the most important one. The resources, they can be used without interaction or the cloud service provider. Then cloud computing, that is the highly cost effective because it operates at higher efficiency with optimum utilization and it requires only just internet connection. Then it offers the load balancing feature that makes it more reliable. Here we can see the benefits in the form of an image. Applications, they as the utilities, they are available on the internet. We can manipulate and configure the applications runtime, means online. There is no software required to be installed locally on the PC. Then online deployment and development tools available. Then the resources, they are available on the network. as infrastructure as a service. Then it has on demand self service. It is very cost effective, and then it gives us the high efficiency, reliability and flexibility. So these are the commonly benefits of our cloud computing. Then the drawbacks of cloud computing. It requires the constant internet connection. That is the because it works only on internet, so it is the requirement, we can say. So it doesn't work well with low speed connections. We require a higher bandwidth for the internet. So governments and regulatory compliance need to be followed. Not all the service providers, they have well defined service level agreements. Then stored data, it can be secure and it cannot be secure. Sometimes we have the limited knowledge of physical location of the stored data. Then we may have multi-tenant platform. Then it may have the limited capabilities for monitoring access to the application hosted on the cloud. So these are some of the drawbacks when we are moving on to the cloud computing. What can be the risks when we are moving on to the cloud computing? First one, we need to take care of the security and privacy feature. It is the biggest concern about the cloud computing, since data management and infrastructure management in the cloud, it is provided by the third party vendor. So it is always as a risk to hand over our sensitive information to the cloud service provider. Although they are reliable, but sometimes any mishap can happen. So although the cloud computing vendors, they ensure us the highly secured password protected accounts, any sign of security breach may result the loss of customer and business and at all, but it entirely it need to be a concerning thing. Then lock-in. It is very difficult for the customer to switch from the cloud service provider to from one service provider to another. So it results in the dependency of a particular CSP for services. Then isolation failure. This risk, it involves the failure of isolation mechanism that separates the storage, memory and the routing between the different tenants. Then management interface compromise. In case of public cloud service provider, the customer management interfaces, they are accessible through the internet. So we in the management need to compromise on that. Then insecure or incomplete data deletion. Sometimes it is possible that the data requested for deletion may not get deleted. It happens because of some of the reasons. There can be some extra copies of data lying, but they are not available at the time of deletion. And sometimes the disk that stores the data of multiple tenant, it gets destroyed. So this need to be this can be the cause. Then moving on to the how we evaluated the cloud computing and the basic terminology. We started with grid computing that focuses on the concept of abstraction. That means it solves large problems with parallel computing. Grid computing is used for implementing the parallel computing. Then we move on to the utility computing, that is offering the computing resources as a metered service. So for simplification purpose, we move on to the utility computing. Then we use the software as a service, means the network based subscription to the different applications they started. So then we move on to the capability aggregation, that is the concept of cloud computing arised. That means anything, anywhere, at any time, access to virtualized IT resources that are delivered dynamically as a service. So when we want to use the different services, different applications by the end users all over the internet globally, then we move on to the cloud computing. So what is cluster computing? We should also know. It's a group of computers connected to each other and work together as a single computer. So these computers, they may be connected through a LAN, and the cluster, it is a tightly coupled system and from its characteristics, it gives us the centralized job management and scheduling system. All the computers in the cluster, they may require the same hardware and OS. So the computers, they may be residing on the same physical location, and they should be connected to a high speed internet connection. Then the resources of cluster, how they can be managed? They are managed by the centralized resource manager. Then moving on to the architecture. The architecture of cluster computing, it has the following components. Means it has the multiple stand-alone computers, it has OS, then it has high performance interconnects, communication software and different applications. Then what is grid computing? Grid computing, we can say, it is a combination of resources from multiple administrative domains to reach a common target, and this group of computers, they can be distributed from several locations, and each group grids, they can be connected together further. So the computers in the grid, they are not required to be in the same physical location, and they can be operated independently. So each computer on the grid is concerned a distinct computer. So the computers in the grid, they are not tied to only one OS. They can run on different operating systems at different locations depending upon the project. Then next one is the utility computing. Utility computing, it refers to a type of computing and business model that provides services and computing resources to the customer, such as storage, application and computing power. These three features, they are provided by the utility computing. This repackaging of computing services is the foundation of shift to on-demand computing, software as a service and cloud computing, because we want computing services to be available runtime globally. Then utility computing, we can say it is a kind of virtualization. That means the whole web storage space and computing power, it is available for the users as larger it is required. So multiple backend web servers used to make this kind of web services possible, and we can say utility computing, it is similar to cloud computing, and it often require cloud-like infrastructure. Then cloud computing, here we are just comparing the different types of computing. Cloud computing, CC, it is a term used when we are not talking about local devices, which is that we have discussed all the hard work when we run any application. But the term used when we are talking that all the devices, they will be running remotely or network owned by any third party vendor that provides all the services such as from email to complex data analysis programs. So this method, it will decrease the user demand to buy, to purchase for the entire software and super hardware. The only thing that the user will need is running the cloud computing system software on the device that can access to the internet. The device needs a continuous connection, internet connection. Cloud and utility computing, they conjoin together sometimes, but the difference between them is the utility computing, it relates to the business model in which the application infrastructure resources, they are delivered, whether these resources, they can be hardware, software or both. So if we compare the parallel computing and distributed computing, let's have a look on their underlying principles. In the parallel computing, many operations, they are being performed simultaneously, but in distributed environment, some components, system components, they are located at the different locations. Here, we parallel computing, a single computer is required, it uses multiple computers. Multiple processors, they perform multiple operations. Here, multiple computers, they perform multiple operations. It may have shared or distributed memory. It has only distributed memory. Then processors communicate with each other through bus, and here the computers communicate with each other through message passing. Then it improves the system performance, and here it improves the system scalability, fault tolerance, and it provides the resource sharing capability. Moving on to the characteristics of cloud computing, there are the 4 key characteristics of cloud computing. They are shown here. First is the common characteristics. Here comes the massive scale, homogeneity, virtualization, low cost software, resilient computing, the geographic distribution, the service orientation, and the advanced security. At the second level, we move on to the essential characteristics, that is the most important one, on demand self-service. Here we have the broad network access, the resource pooling, the rapid elasticity feature of the cloud, and then the measured service. Then third one, what are the different type of service models that are being followed in the cloud? One is the software as a service, we have discussed it. Second one, it is the platform as a service, PaaS, and third one, it is the infrastructure as a service, IaaS. We started from the infrastructure in the form of different system, virtual machines, storage. Then we move on to the platform as a service, means different database, web servers, and deployment tools. Then at the software as a service, we are giving the multiple applications to the users through the internet. Then at the fourth characteristics is the development models, deployment models, how the cloud can be deployed. It can be deployed either we can have the private cloud within an organization where we are more concerned about the security feature. Then we may have the public cloud when we want everything available publicly for all the users working in that organization or all over the world. Then we may have the community cloud, that is for more than one organization when we want to share the resources. Then there can be the form of hybrid cloud, the combination of private and public. Some features they are available privately, some features they are available as the publicly. So if we talk about the most important feature, that is on demand self-service, the cloud computing, it allows the user to use web services and resources as per the demand. We can log on to the website at any time. We can use all the resources, means we can use the infrastructure, we can use the different deployment tools as a platform, and we can use the different applications. Then second, the broad network access. Since cloud computing, it is completely web based, so it can be accessed anywhere from anywhere at any time. Then the resource pooling. The cloud computing, it allows multiple tenants to share a pool of resources. That's the most wanted feature. So we can share the single physical instance of hardware, single physical instance of database, and single physical instance of a infrastructure by multiple tenants. They will be buying at different times. Then fourth is the rapid elasticity. It is very easy to scale the resources vertically or horizontally at any time depending upon the user's need. So scaling of resources, it means the ability of resources to deal with the increasing or decreasing demand depending upon the end user requirement. So the resources being used by the customers at any point of given of time, they are automatically monitored on the cloud. Then the measured service, in this service the cloud provider, it controls and monitors all the aspects of cloud service. Here we are talking about how we can optimize our resources, what will be the billing cycle, how we will be planning our capacity, etc. depending upon the different services that need to be used. Then what is elasticity in cloud? The dictionary meaning of elasticity computing, it is the ability to quickly expand or decrease, means depending upon the user requirement, the computing, processing, memory and storage resources, they need to be increased or decreased to meet the challenging runtime demands without worrying about the capacity planning or engineering for the peak usage. They need to be focused. That means typically controlled by a system monitoring tools, elasticity computing, it matches the amount of resources allocated to the amount of resources actually they are needed without disturbing the operations. By using the cloud elasticity, the company, it avoids paying for unused capacity or our idle resources, or we doesn't have to worry about investing the purchase, or we need to maintain the additional resources or equipment. Then while security and limited control, they are the concerns that need to be taken care, considering the elastic cloud computing that has many benefits. Then as we are saying ki what is on demand provisioning, as per the end user requirement, the cloud provisioning, it refers to the process for the development and integration of cloud services within an enterprise IT infrastructure. So this is a broad term that incorporates the policies to be followed, the procedures and the enterprise objective in sourcing the cloud servers and solutions, providing a cloud service provider. So this cloud provisioning, it primarily defines how, what and when an organization will provision the different cloud services. These services, they can be internal, they can be public, or they can be using the hybrid cloud products or solution depending upon their usage. Then there are three different delivery models. First is the dynamic or on-demand provisioning. The customer or requesting application, it is provided with the resources on the runtime. The second one is the user provisioning. That means the user or the customer, it adds the cloud device or devices themselves. It has the power. Then third one is the post sales or advanced provisioning. Here the customer is provided with the resource upon our contract or the service sign up. So these were the today's discussion. We have started from the what is cloud, then a cloud characteristics were discussed, then we have a brief lookup upon the cloud computing, grid computing, parallel computing, distributed computing. Thank you all.